Hello and welcome to another retrospective video of an iconic adventure game. The game we are going to cover in this video is a standalone one which we can easily call the Roger Rabbit of adventure games. I am talking about Toonstruck, an adventure game published by Virgin Interactive. The publisher was very active during the 90s, publishing multiple games from this genre like the Legend of Kyrandia series that we will cover in another video and Beneath a Steel Sky. Toonstruck combined a live-action protagonist with 2D hand-drawn graphics, which was unique for the adventure games of the mid-90s and featured several well-known actors like the main star Christopher Lloyd and Dan Castellaneta, the famous voice of this guy. The plan of Virgin Interactive was to create its own cartoony adventure franchise with multiple sequels, but things did not turn out as such, as we will see later on. Toonstruck is a graphic adventure video game developed by Burst Studios and published by Virgin Interactive Entertainment in 1996 for the MS-DOS. The plot follows the story of Drew Blank, a successful animator who has great success and universal acclaim through his Fluffy Ban Ban show. The show runs for more than 10 years, bringing fame to its creator. However, Blank secretly hates his creation and the many cute-looking talking rabbits that star in it. The character Drew Blank hates the most is the star of the show, Flux Wildly, a small purple character who loves silly jokes and wise talking. Blank's boss denies him a new show where he could do something new and different and asks him to draw more cute bunnies for the long-running Fluffy Ban Ban show. The depressed animator faces a creative block and nods off while trying to design new characters. When he wakes up, he is mysteriously drawn by the TV set that plays his show and transports him to the land of Fluffy Ban Ban show Cutopia. There, Drew Blank comes across Flux Wildly, who befriends him. He discovers that his creation is being ravaged by a mysterious evil character called Count Nefarious, who uses his Malevolator gun to transform Cutopia into a dark and bleak place. The king of Cutopia, King Hugh, assigns Drew Blank with a task of locating Count Nefarious and stopping him. The main objective of the game is to locate and collect several items to build a machine to reverse the effects of Count Nefarious' Malevolator. These components are spread throughout the three main locations of the game, Cutopia, Xanadu, and Malevoland. The game plays as a typical point-and-click adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The player controls Drew Blank, played by Christopher Lloyd, who is accompanied by his sidekick Flux Wildly, voiced by Dan Castellaneta. The game uses a context-sensitive mouse pointer which changes when passing over an item that the player can interact with or a new location that he can visit. The inventory is represented by a bag called the bottomless bag, where all picked up items can be stored and combined before being used on the environment or other characters. Dialogue options with characters are displayed as graphical icons that represent the topic of conversation. There is also a cube of ice icon that is used to break the ice with a character and melts into a puddle of water when the dialogue options are exhausted. Many of the puzzles in the game are based on object manipulation, although there are also some logic and arcade-style puzzles. The second character of the game, Flux Wildly, is also playable and can be switched by clicking on him. Some puzzles require the ability of Flux in order to be solved. There is also a lot of traveling back and forth among the locations of the game in order to manipulate objects and solve puzzles. This makes the game less linear as the player can progress the game with his own style and logic. Like in the case of LucasArts adventure games, it is not possible to die in the game and there are no dead ends. Toonstruck was conceived as a reversed Who Framed Roger Rabbit as the live-action protagonist enters a cartoon world, contrary to the film where the opposite happened. Writing and development began in 1993 and lasted 3 years with a very high budget for the time, reaching almost $8 million. Initially, the script was more children-friendly, but it was then revised to be darker and with more parodies and cynicism. Virgin Interactive knew from the start that the cost would be high, but they wanted to astonish audiences with the game's technology and high-profile actors. They also wanted to expand on the use of the CD-ROM technology after the success of Virgin's The Seventh Guest and to make the game as cinematic as possible. The game was developed by Burst Studios, an internal development studio of Virgin Interactive helmed by Chris Yates, a Westwood Studios veteran. Development was handled like a full-scale movie production with a team of more than 200 people. The full motion footage of the game's live actors was shot in Burst's own studio using the green screen technique. State-of-the-art for the time, Silicon Graphics workstations were used for the post-production of the footage and in order to blend the live-action footage with the hand-drawn backgrounds and other visuals of the game. During the game's first year of development in 1994, the engine was changed to that of the third Legend of Kyrandia game Malcolm's Revenge that was given to Burst Studios by Westwood. That resulted in even more delays for the game as more than 90% of the original source code had to be scrapped and started from scratch. Creative influences for Toonstruck's characters, locations, and animation were the classic cartoons of Warner Brothers, Tex Avery, and Hanna-Barbera. Burst animators did much of their work traditionally, sketching characters and their movements on paper and then animating these frames. The last step was to utilize powerful software of the time like Autodesk Animator to digitally color the frames and fine-tune animation. All this huge production scale led to multiple delays for the game's release. After a lot of postponements, Virgin decided that the 1996 release window could not be missed. In order to meet the deadline, the studio split the game's script in two parts, the first to be the original Toonstruck game and the second as a planned sequel to continue the story. Amendments to the script had to be made in order to accommodate for a cliffhanger ending that could still satisfy players who would then look forward to the sequel. The game was finally released in October of 1996 for a retail price of $59.95. It received critical acclaim with praise for its story, characters, and amazing visuals. However, it only managed to sell 150,000 copies, making it a commercial failure. According to a lot of Virgin Interactive executives, the game flopped even though it was critically praised, mostly due to the decline of adventure games' popularity in the later half of the 90s. Another reason was the game's title and marketing campaign, focusing on the toon aspect of the game that gave the impression to consumers that it was targeted to younger audiences and children. The commercial failure of Toonstruck led to the cancellation of the planned sequel, leaving the story somewhat incomplete since its initial plot was split in two to accommodate for two games. There were later attempts by ex-members of the development team to utilize crowdfunding to produce a sequel, but all those attempts were unsuccessful until the creation of this video. That was the full history of Toonstruck, a unique example of an adventure game that was unfortunately commercially unsuccessful and fell victim to the declining popularity of the genre. It is still, though, a great and fun experience and features the amazing talents of Christopher Lloyd, Dan Castellaneta, and Tim Curry. If you are a fan of the pure point-and-click adventures of the 90s, then you should definitely consider Toonstruck. It will impress you with its story, characters, and visuals. Do not forget to watch my many retrospectives on iconic franchises like Loom, King's Quest, Space Quest, Gabriel Knight, and more. You can also find my 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it to know when a new video is up. You can also consider supporting me by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. There is one membership tier and you will have a lot of benefits like exclusive updates on upcoming videos, you get to watch each new video earlier, you get to decide the topic of upcoming videos, and also member exclusive giveaways that will follow. We will have the next adventure game video soon. Thank you all for watching.